It's Rhema Afternoons with Tom and Di.
And once again, middle of the week, and we take a moment to focus on the global church. And we do that with Open Doors, who work with Christians around the world in places where it's very difficult to follow Christ. Executive Director for Open Doors in Australia and New Zealand, Anna Hutchins. Anna Hutchins joins us again. Kia ora, Anna. It's good, Anna. It's good to have you back on the show.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
So today we're taking a look at Laos and a situation that has recently erupted there. Can you tell us a little bit more about what some believers are facing, and in particular one leader?
Yeah, thanks, Di. Yeah, this is a situation which happened only a few months ago, and Laos is one of those countries where it is surrounded by countries that many of your listeners may go on holidays to: Thailand, Vietnam. It's very close to Cambodia, but they do suffer a lot of persecution in that country. It's very difficult to be a Christian there. So this particular story is around a church leader named Han. And what happened is that 6 Christians within a certain region were being forced by authorities to denounce their faith, to say that they no longer wanted to follow Jesus. In that country, Christianity is seen as an abandonment of the Laos identity of Buddhism and a lot of their other spiritual practices. But these 6 believers refused to deny their faith, and so they were arrested. Han, in particular, was separated from the other believers. He was chained up, and they were unable to be released for a period of time. But after a number of days in prison, Open Doors local partners were able to work with some of the local believers, and eventually all 6 believers were able to be released from jail. So a tricky situation, but yeah, we're glad to bring the good news that they have come out of jail since then.
All right. Well, it's great to hear that, but let's just talk about the situation there. Laos currently sitting at number 21, I believe, on the 2024 World Watch list of the top 50 countries in the world where Christians face the most persecution for their faith. Is this a change in Laos, and what's brought this about, this active intent to see Christians deny their faith? And is it just Christians, Anna? Is this broader than that?
I mean, there is a fair amount of persecution for all minorities. Buddhism is there's a majority religion, and then that takes about 50% of people within the country, and then about 40% is sort of these traditional animalistic beliefs, which are really closely tied to ethnicity and identity within the country. But Christianity probably gets the biggest brunt of the persecution. Laos is a really interesting country in that it was sitting at around a similar number, about 20 a few years ago, and then it began to improve. The situation actually improved for Christians in the country. But just in the last reporting period, it has jumped up sort of from the level 30 up to sort of this higher ranking. And one of the significant things was that a pastor was killed in the country because of his religious faith. And things are heating up in the nation for Christians. Persecution is becoming harder, and we're seeing more examples. I mean, we have seen a long history of people being imprisoned for their faith, but we're seeing it increase.
So in hearing all this, this may be a part of the world that a few of us are pretty unfamiliar with. How do we start to pray for Laos and for the believers there?
Yeah, thank you. Well, although it's always challenging bringing stories of believers suffering for their faith, Laos is one of these incredible examples where the church is growing. And I was just reading a report from a local partner where they said the reason that the persecution is increasing is because people are becoming Christians. And the greatest target for persecution for local authorities are these Buddhism converts, or people who have sort of been attached to animalistic beliefs. And the authorities don't like it. The Communist Party doesn't like it. And so we want to pray that these believers like Han continue to stand firm in their faith. I can't imagine if authorities came over to my house and demanded that I renounce my faith. I mean, in this particular story with Han, when he was in prison, they came and raided his house illegally. They didn't have any warrants to do so. They took a guitar that they used for their house church, a little offering bucket, and that's actually all illegal. So, formally the national government allows Christianity, but it is these sort of local authorities that put the pressure on Christians. So we want to pray that these believers continue to share their faith despite the risks and the threats. They continue to take the Great Commission seriously, and that as they do experience those threats and imprisonments as they sit on the jail cell like the Apostle Paul and Apostle John, that they would continue to be firm in their faith, have the comfort of Christ, that they'd know that they're suffering for him, and that they would know that, the body of Christ, including your listeners, are with them and praying for them, and part of the body of Christ encouraging them.
A focus on Laos this afternoon and the situation there and the challenges facing Christians in that part of the world. And of course, Open Doors working with Christians in many parts of the world where they face persecution for their faith. And to find out more, head along to opendoors.org.nz. You can find out about Open Doors work there. Anna Hutchins with us, Executive Director. And thank you again for your time, Anna. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Tom and Di. See you later.
Thanks for joining us on Rhema. Now, if you found value in today's content, hit that like button. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing to our channel with the subscribe button. This really helps us to continue to produce more quality content for you. And hey, if you'd like to stay updated and never miss any of our future videos, ring that notification bell as well. Don't forget to follow us on our other socials, which are in the description below. And until then, stay tuned.